Hello guys, hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I am the founder of Fintelligents, and in today's session, we're going to be talking about how to crack the CAIA level 1 in 5 months preparation plan. Okay, in this session, I'm going to be focusing on first explaining you what exactly is the CAIA exam, what all things are included in the CAIA level exam, what is the pattern, what is the exam dates, what is the cost, everything I'm going to be talking about. Then the strategic approach, this is going to be very important. Okay, the mindset, the thought process that you should have to pass the CAIA level 1 exam. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the strategic approach and how this strategic approach is going to help you to pass the exam. Okay, and what you should expect in the actual exam, that also I'll be covering. So what the CAIA actually tries to test, okay, this is very important. I'll be covering it at the end. And for all of you students, what exactly should be your 5-month overall plan? Okay, what should be the order? When should you do the first revision? When should you do the second revision? And when should you go into the mock papers? I'll be talking about that, the number of hours also. So stay with me till the end. I'll give you the full proper 5 months plan to prepare for the exam. Okay, so let us start with the first part. We're going to be talking about what exactly is the CAIA level 1 exam. We'll try to understand that. Okay, the CAIA as a curriculum has two levels, level 1 and level 2. Okay, the registration for the March exam, which a lot of students are going to prepare for the level 1 exam, is actually going to be starting on October 13th. Okay, and it's primarily going to end on 8th of December. This is the early bird window. This is where the price is actually low for all the students. Once you miss that, then from the 8th December to 2nd Feb, the ideally standard registration will open where the fees is slightly higher. Okay, and the exam is going to get conducted on from March 2nd to March 13th. There are centers across metros in India also where you can go for the exam. Now, what exactly is the pattern of the exam? Okay, so if you look at level 1, you have around 200 questions. So they are coming from the buckets of 100 question each. Okay, 100 questions explicitly and 100 question explicitly in two buckets. Okay, and the time that has been given is 2 hours and 2 hours, and in between there is a 30-minute break which is optional for the student. If he doesn't want to take that, he can continue and give the exam. Okay, so it's a 4-hour exam with bifurcation into 2 hours and 2 hours. Okay, next, what exactly is the weightage? What exactly is the weightage for the exam? Okay, now when you look at the curriculum, there are 31 chapters that are there for your CAIA level 1. Now what they've done is they've bifurcated it into different buckets. Okay, the first bucket is the most important bucket because we are going to be talking about the ethics. Okay, these are the same ethics which are also there in your CFA level 1 exam. Okay, now professional ethics carries a huge weightage, and in the exam also you'll find normally 20 question on an average in the exam, and it will be on the start. So they will give you the questions at the start itself. They're slightly tricky, so if you do not understand the standards properly, you'll face problem. Okay, introduction to alternative investment. This is where there are 4-5 chapters, 6 chapters included. Again, the weightage is huge. Okay, this gives you the building block of the whole curriculum of CAIA. That means what exactly is there in the alternative investment space. Okay, then we are moving towards real asset, where they are going to be talking about real estate, then assets which you can actually touch and hold. Commodities also discussed, natural resources are also being discussed. So there are a variety of chapters there. Again, the weightage is around 11 to 17%. It's a range. In the actual exam, they can ask you a specific say 10%, 20% or 15% number. Okay, private equity. So they've gone into detail of private equity because whenever we talk about alternative investment industry, private equity, hedge fund are the primary most part. So over here, what in level 1 they have tried to do, they've given you the details of what is the structure of the industry, how does the structure, the incentive cycle works, what are the different types of asset, how do private equity companies invest, and if I am an investor and I want to invest into a private equity fund, how will that happen? So that is also covered here in detail. Next is the private debt part. Now when we talk about the private debt section, the overall focus over here is say 9% to 14% is the range. Okay, that we basically try to see that private debt market where you'll find the the loan is provided not by the bank but a private debt fund. Okay, in India also there are a lot of private debt funds that are now coming in picture. So this is a very good series of chapters which will give you the base of how does a private fund actually work, especially the private debt fund. Okay. Next is a hedge fund, again an important section. So private equity hedge fund, very, very important part where they are getting into the core detail of the entire structure of the hedge fund industry. How do you select a fund manager? What is the incentive of the fund manager? All of these things in detail. Okay, they try to capture all of them properly. Next is digital asset. Okay, these are just one chapters, hence the weightage is slightly small. So overall, okay, 31 chapter as per the 2025 curriculum. 2026 curriculum will be announced shortly. Okay, so these are the overall chapters that we see now. Okay, what should be your strategic approach to clear the CAIA level 1? Make sure that you make a note, pause the video, write down what should be your overall approach to clear the exam in level 1. Okay, so I bifurcated it into 5 buckets, 5 sections. Let us go to the first one. Leverage the learning objective. Okay, now what has been my experience when I'm teaching students, when I'm talking to the people who have already cleared this exam, the major thing that the institute tries to check is that whatever is written on in the learning objective, has the student actually understood that or not? Okay, so what you should be doing is look at all the overall curriculum. Okay, and once you're done reading, okay, once you've done one reading of the curriculum, you would know which learning objective is focusing on the concept, which learning objective is focusing on the calculation part, and which learning objective is focusing on the application part. So do the bifurcation, okay, and then try to understand where is your strong part. Okay, suppose if I'm weak in say quantitative part, so you should be able to identify that, okay, in the overall curriculum there are say around 15-20 learning objectives where there is calculation and I'm weak on that calculation. So when you do the revision, you can revisit those weak learning objectives and make sure that you are able to revise it properly, get the hang of that curriculum or those learning objective properly. Okay, so the first part is understand what the learning objective is actually talking, identify or basically do the bifurcation of learning objective on the basis of concept, quantitative and applied part, and then try to understand which learning objective. This will come only once you have completed the curriculum. Okay, this will come once you have completed the curriculum. So understand which learning objective is my weakness. Okay, and this is one part which I generally tell students that, okay, what you can do, you can create your own notes, and in that notes, suppose in the first chapter there are 10 learning objectives. Okay, once you have done reading for the first time or say revision, you can make a short summary of what this learning objective is actually trying to tell you. Okay, for example, there is a learning objective like 5.1.7 which focuses on venture debt. So venture debt minimizes your equity dilution, okay, because you're not losing your equity, you're basically taking a debt. Okay, often structured through warrant. So 1 line, 3 line, 4 line, you can just write what this learning objective actually tries to cover. Now, if you're able to do this, I'm not saying everybody will be able to do it, but if you're able to do it, you are actually increasing your chances of clearing the exam. Okay, this part, strategize your learning objective. Now, why this is important? If you have read the curriculum properly, you will be able to connect that whatever learning objective you have read in the initial chapters, that is introduction to alternative investment, those learning objectives will change. Okay, that means when you come to the end of the chapter, you'll be able to connect the dots between the learning objective, which will help you analyze, from where exactly they are asking questions. Next, whether they are combining the learning objectives and they are asking questions or not. In their mock papers, you'll be able to easily identify that. Okay, and mostly what we should focus on, like I mentioned, there are certain chapters which are of high weightage. So whichever are the high weightage learning objective, do those learning objective properly 2 times. Okay, this is the first bucket. Focus on the learning objective. Next, have a layered revision approach or layered preparation approach. First step, whenever you're reading, whenever you're preparing, make sure that you go through the core material. When I'm saying core, see, generally I highlight people to go through Kaplan-Schweizer book. Okay, go through the curriculum properly, highlight, make star notes, whichever part you feel is slightly important, make a star over it, highlight important lines. Okay, because when you come back for revision, you will be able to revise it fast. Okay, so do that for the first time. When you're doing the second step, that is nothing but active summarization and active reading, because when you're reading for the first time, you might read the entire content, but you might not be able to understand everything. So when you're doing the reading again, okay, along with your watching of the videos, okay, what I generally tell people is that make a short note. okay, short note, flashcard, some list, so that you know what this chapter is trying to cover. Okay, and also solve the chapter wise question. So in the first step, before watching the video, read the textbook, just go through it once, so you will understand 10%, 20%, 30%. In the second step, you're watching the video, you're reading the textbook, you're also creating your notes, short notes, your flashcards, and also solving the questions. Okay, you can take a gap in between. Okay, so whichever questions are there after the Swedger book, you solve that at least minimum, so that you have the hang of it. And then when you do one more revision, solve the actual question. Say for example, Fintelligents question, solve that properly. Okay, within the layered approach section, the final step, this will come say around 1 month before the exam. Okay, so for example, if you're going for the March attempt, so primarily in mid of Feb, you should start solving the mock papers, and you should solve at least 2 to 3 mocks. So we generally provide 2 mocks. There's one additional mock from CAIA, which is CAIA team, and you have to solve that. Solving is not enough. Review the mock. Okay, do the analysis of mock. If you do not do it, you won't be able to learn from it. Okay, so understand the weak areas properly and focus on those weak areas in the last week of final revision. Okay, this is the second bucket that I'm talking about. Do your preparation in a layered manner. Solving. Okay, I have already talked about the solving part now, but I'm getting more in detail that how should you solve. Okay, now this all depends upon whether you have time. Okay, suppose I've read 3 chapters, I've watched the video, I've done the revision, now I'm solving the chapter. Okay, so over here I'm solving the chapter's question bank effectively, because what is happening, okay, when I'm doing the solving for the first time, I've completed the chapter. What I should be doing, I should go back to each question and see, why did I pick a particular option? Okay, was I able to eliminate the option? Okay, now if you're able to solve say around 60-70 questions per chapter, you get a very good idea that where is your weakness, and whether you are selecting the question because you understand the concept, or whether you are making a calculated guess. Okay, once you have done the solving of say 5-6 chapter or whatever analysis you are planning to do, bifurcate your questions between these 3. Now these are the 3 sections that I have given you. Okay, you can create 5 categories, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what I generally do, whichever questions I felt easy while I was solving, I'll put a different sign like tick. Certain question which was slightly tricky, question mark. Okay, certain questions which were wrong, okay, which I got wrong, so mark them wrong. So why do I need this? If I'm able to tag the questions properly, what will happen? I will have a book of mine where whichever chapter I've solved, I've written for each question, what is it? Is it easy? Is it confusing? Is it wrong? Now, why do I need this? Because when I go back, okay, when I go back and basically analyze, okay, the question bank, when I'm doing the revision, okay, it will give me a very good strength, because what I can do for each chapter, I know which question has been wrong for me. So I can, when I'm doing the revision, I can review the wrong questions properly. Okay, I can go and try those wrong questions one more time to see whether I've learned from that or not. Okay, so intense solving is very, very important for any competitive exam, and CAIA exam do require you to have a good level of intense competition. Okay, the next is mock exam simulation. Okay, mock exam simulation. Now over here, a lot of people, they end up preparing, they end up solving the chapter question, they miss on the actual mock. Please students, if you're preparing for CAIA level 1 exam, make sure that you give minimum 2 mocks, because till the time you understand the full 4-hour window, how you are performing in that 4 hour, you won't be able to succeed. Okay, so make sure that you give minimum 2 mocks, give the mock in an actual exam setting. Okay, and what you should be doing, on an average 90 seconds per question. Okay, or say maximum you can think of around 2 minutes per question. Okay, because see, each section has around 2 hours and 100 questions you have to solve. So maximum you have 2 minutes per question. If you practice in 90 seconds, okay, you will be in a better position to prepare and solve on the actual exam day. Once you have done with the mock, I have already said you have to review. How do I review? Do a deep structured review so that you understand where is your mistake. And for each question in the mock, what you should be doing, go back and connect which chapter it is coming from, which learning objective it is coming from, so that when you do the revision, you are in a better position to understand where you are making mistake. Okay, Go to that chapter again, read that chapter again, read that section again, go to the summary notes that you have created, do it properly, do the revision. Okay, so if you're giving 4 hours to give the exam, the review time should also be around 4 hours. Okay, do a proper deep dive. You should have every single question understanding, whether it's Fintelligent mock, whether it is your CAIA mock. Okay, after each mock, see which chapter you are performing well, which section you are performing well, which topic you are performing well. For example, there are 4 chapters for hedge fund. So those 4 chapters I am performing good, but there are chapters on private equity which I am not performing. So you should have that understanding that, okay, when I am doing the revision next revision before the next mock, which section I have to focus on. Okay. Also, you know which questions you have to revise, which learning objective you have to revise. So it becomes very easy. So analysis of mock is very, very important because that will help you to target the revision. Okay. Tackle the ethics. This is the next important point. Mark this as double star. This is the highest weighted curriculum. Okay, this is the highest weighted curriculum. Now over here, what is effectively happening? Okay, ethics, you will find scenario based questions. When you read the content in your book also, it is very simple. You do not have to do this, do's and don'ts. But when you solve the actual exam now, you will realize that the questions are more tricky. Okay, so how do we tackle this? Okay, so whatever are the code, the professional codes and standards, read it properly, summarize it. For example, you need to ask for each code. Okay, what is the mistake that is happening? Is there a disclosure happening? Is there a misrepresentation happening? Is there a conflict of interest that is happening? Once you are able to do this, because when you actually solve the question of ethics, you'll be able to ask this question. Okay, what is the issue in this question? Is there a client interest being harmed? Is there a conflict of interest in this question? Once you're able to identify that, you can go back to that code and understand whether this question is connected to this particular code or not. Okay. Most common thing that I generally tell is that do the ethics at the end. Okay. I'm not saying 10 days before the exam, at least 1.5 to 2 months before the exam, and solve every single day 10 questions. Okay. 10 minimum. So even if you do that 10 questions in a month, you are solving 300 questions. If you increase it to 20 every single day, 600 questions of ethics. Okay, this will give you tremendous edge on your actual exam. Okay, moving further, how should be your approach in the actual exam day? Okay, so between the two valid option, because most of the time what will happen is when you look at the question, you read the question, you go to the option, you'll be able to eliminate 2 options, but the 2 options are going to be very, very close. So you have to ask and question this, whether my client is facing any problem, whether there is any disclosure issue, is there a fairness related problem? That means, am I being fair? Okay, is there a strictness related issue? Basically, you have to ask this question, what is the breach and what should be the highest standard that you should pick up? Okay. Next is revision and practice. Okay. Like I said, make sure that every single day you dedicate 20-30 minutes towards ethics, not now, but at least 1.5 months, 2 months before the exam. Focus on solving as many practice questions as possible. Okay. After practicing each, look at the option. This is very, very important. If you have selected option A, why other options are wrong? You have to be very confident on that. The moment you start analyzing, so if I'm solving 20 questions per day and I'm doing a proper analysis of those 20 questions, the moment I cross 10-15 days, my answers in ethics will become correct. Okay, so follow this. This is very, very important, and important high weightage section also in your CAIA level 1 exam. Okay. Next, how to pass the CAIA level 1 exam in the first attempt. So I give you the strategic mindset. Okay. But what is the overall summary point that can help you to clear the exam in the first attempt? Okay. So give overall 200 to 300 hours of preparation. I'm just zooming in. Okay. Daily 2 hours of focus study. Now I know a lot of students who are going to go for this exam are working professionals. Okay. So what is effectively going to happen is that daily 2 hours you are able to go for in a very structured manner, in a very effective manner. Okay. Last, formula sheet. Now what is the problem over here is that a lot of people, they make mistake in remembering the formula. So what you should do when you're reading the chapter, make a note of all the formulas. Okay. So when you're revising, revise the formula. 10 days before the exam, revise the formula. 3 days before the exam, revise the formula. So revision of the formulas, that how to utilize the formula on the calculator, and what does this formula tries to tell you, what are the important parameters of the formula. You should be able to pick it up. Okay, double down on reading. So generally what I say is that 5 days before the exam, just read the textbook, read the Kaplan book properly end to end, so that you are getting clarity. As you read more, you get more connected with the content. Okay, that is the main part. When you're studying, see, like I said, 31 chapters. Okay, if you dedicate on an average, say around 7 chapters, 7 hours per chapter, 3.5 hours for reading, and 3.5 hours for solving. So you will be in a position to cover the overall, say around 200 to 300 hours range. Okay. Also, before the exam, I will be coming up with important topics. So do not miss that. I'll be coming up with a video also and a PDF. That video and PDF for 2026, please make sure that you go through all those content properly. Okay. Structured plan is needed. Okay. So I generally tell people that from October till March, the exam, by January end, you should be able to complete the entire curriculum. Feb should be only for sectional test, revision, mock papers. Okay. And give proper tool and mock papers. If you are able to complete these 5 pillars properly, then it is very, very easy for you to clear the exam in the first attempt. Okay. So I hope everybody will make a note of it. Will try to cover that structured plan approach. Okay. How does that 5-month study plan looks like? Okay. So basically the first 4 weeks, okay, I generally ask people to go slow. Do the first reading and solving. So in our question bank, there are like 2-3 quizzes for each chapters. So solve the first quiz by default. Okay, when you're reading, do the first quiz. Okay, this is generally easy quiz. Do that for all the chapters. Okay, I've given you the order. Okay, now as on an average, you're completing 2 chapters in a week. On an average. Okay, you're reading, you're solving. Okay, now out of those chapters, see I'm not given the first chapter, which is ethics. I'm giving you it at the end. This is where your introduction to alternative investment will start. Okay, you will primarily complete this entire part till alpha, beta, and hypothesis. This is an important section, high weighted section. Okay, natural resources and land. This from here, the next part, the real asset section will start, and it will cover almost 6 chapters. Okay, complete read and solving 2 chapters per week. Okay, I've given you the entire block bifurcation. Okay, from here, the private investing, equity investing part, okay, till this. So next 3 chapters are focused on private equity section. Okay, they've got each chapter, very detailed chapter, important chapters. Okay, read and solve. Read, watch the video and solve. Okay, then you have the private credit. Okay, till this point. Okay, private credit section. Okay, around 6 chapters again. Then from here we have the hedge fund. Okay, which continues till this part. Okay, and then you have the last 2 chapters. So by the mid of 15th week, you should be in a position to complete the first reading, watching of the video, and the solving of the 1 minimum question bank. If possible, do the second also. There is no problem if you have time. Okay, then you have to do quick revision, okay, of the topic, plus you have to start the ethics part also. Why did I ask you to solve here? Because from here you have to go and do every single day 10, 20 question of ethics by default. Whatever question bank is available, solve that. Okay, now from here, from week 17, you have to increase your pace. Okay, which means now you're going to do the revision and solve the second quiz or third quiz. So can you see, in each week now you're covering 4 chapters. So initially you started with two chapters, then you increase it to 4 chapters. Okay, so there is a bucket of 4 chapters. So you should be able to complete everything by around, say, 24th week. You should be able to complete, and then you do the final revision, solve the mock papers. Now I have given only section for 2 mocks. Okay, but you can solve 3 mocks if you have time. Okay, on an average you need to give a gap of around 2 days minimum between the mocks, and then do the final revision. This is very, very important. People don't do that. Do final 1 full length revision, 3-4 days of the content, and then go for the actual exam. This should be your overall plan for clearing the CAIA exam for in the next 5 months. Okay, why should you choose Fintelligents? Okay, we basically, how do we prepare? Okay, we ask people to watch the video before coming to the lecture, Okay, and in the lecture, when we are teaching, you can basically simultaneously go through the textbook. So it is basically a second reading and a kind of a revision that is happening in your lecture. Make sure that you attend the lecture. Okay, don't come to the lecture blank. Even if you're very, very busy, do not come to the lecture blank. It will give you very good context. It will make your confidence very good on the curriculum, on the exam. Okay, we have a dedicated Telegram group where you can participate and solve, ask your queries, identify your doubt, talk to the expert which is there in the Telegram group. You can also ask your doubts in the live class, which we encourage people to do it. And there is a monthly guidance call, which is a group call on what is happening in the preparation and how should they prepare. So a lot of people, because they are preparing on their own, they can get an idea that what should be their thought process of clearing the exam. Okay, correct. So that is the overall idea. That is the overall thought process. Fintelligents CAIA prep. Okay, so we have around 900 plus questions, 2 exam oriented mocks, good mocks. Then we have chapter wise practice tests. So when we say 900 question, it is chapter wise questions, sectional test, and then the mock papers. Then we have the videos covering all the chapters. We have a detailed structured study plan which we guide students for, and we are also now adding the summary PPT so that you can read the PPT and do a quick fast revision of the content. Okay, what are the different packages that we have? We have one which is a basic plan, standard plan, and there is one more which is professional, which is there on the website. So everything in the basic plan, okay, that is there. Basic plan is primarily for question banks. Okay, if you add the video lecture, it becomes a standard package. If you add live lectures on weekends, we're going to be taking live lecture, then it becomes a professional package. Okay, so everything is highlighted. The details are also there on our website. You can also access our demo lectures, which are available in on our YouTube channel. Okay, if you reach out to us on our WhatsApp channel, we'll share that part. We do share success stories of all our students across the courses, that how did they prepare for the exam. Okay, this is very, very important, because if you are preparing on your own, or even if you are preparing through our videos, you might not get that much time to interact with us. But these videos are gold mine, because it will give you a complete help at how other people are clearing. Okay, what should be your mindset to clear the exam. We also do a lot of industry interaction. We do very heavy podcast sessions where we talk to people who are working in the industry. They have either CFOs, CROs. We have done around 70-80 podcasts, which you can watch, and it will give you a good perspective that what it takes to actually clear and be a part of that industry. Okay, and definitely do subscribe to our channel. Okay, do subscribe to our channel, and do reach out to us in case you have any query. This is our WhatsApp number. Okay, and we do provide other courses also, say FRM, CFA, SCR, ACCA. So you can reach out to us on this WhatsApp number. We'll be happy to help you and guide you. I hope this session actually helped you in getting some clarity that how you should prepare for the upcoming exam. You have taken the decision, follow the plan. If you're getting stuck anywhere, reach out to us on our WhatsApp number. We will help you out. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for watching this session, watching the video. I hope this session helped you in your preparation.